These are the Dragons, the 5 multimillionaire investors on their way to the den. There, tonight, they will make or break the business dreams of dozens of budding entrepreneurs and inventors.
It's not a business proposition or a business investment you're offering today.
Is it investable for me? No.
I think that's revolting.
Could you just tell me the terms of the contract?
I think it's a very flawed business model.
The Dragons know what they're talking about. Powerful and wealthy now, they all built up their own fortunes from scratch. Deborah Meaden made her millions in the holiday and leisure industry in the West Country. Duncan Bannatyne is a Glaswegian entrepreneur whose £170 million empire includes health clubs, hotels and casinos. Theo Paphitis is a retail magnate who's transformed the fortunes of high street brands like Ryman, Licenza, Partners and Contessa. Richard Farley is based in Monaco and made his fortune as an investment banker and hedge fund manager, and he's now a prolific investor in UK startup companies. Peter Jones is one of Britain's most successful entrepreneurs. His multi-million pound business empire ranges from telecoms and property to the media. In the den, the Dragons are ready to back the right businesses with their own money. But tonight, will anyone convince them to invest? Welcome to the Dragon's Den, where aspiring entrepreneurs have come to pitch for much-needed cash they believe could transform their businesses and make them millions. Our Dragons are prepared to invest their own money, but only in the ideas they think will make money. So will our first entrepreneur to enter the den persuade the Dragons to part with their cash? Remember, the rules say he has to get all the money he asks for, or he gets nothing at all.
My name is Richard Williamson. Today I'm going to be asking for £250,000 for 8% of EDV. What EDV does is to bring the talent of filmmakers and the art of filmmaking to individuals and families. Now, how do we do that? 3 services. The first is editing. This is where people give us hours of home video, boxes of photos. We organize, digitize, edit into the highlights, all these incredibly clever things that people just love, but take a load of time and skill. The second thing, portraiture, where people will commission us to create a kind of a very natural day-in-the-life approach with their children, and either produce kind of an 8 to 10 minute little film or a photographic day that's a little bit more something you've heard of before. The third service is the biography, where we sit down with our clients' parents' generation, get them to tell all those stories that only they know, edit them together with all family photos, archive, and produce something that becomes immediately priceless to that family. This year we'll do £1.3 million worth of business with profitability of about 11% after tax and all that sort of thing. We're the pioneers in this business. We have spent the last 4 years kind of working the kinks out, and we're now ready to explode. We're now ready to take this and expand and take it to the next level. I'm really excited to be here today, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you for your time.
Have you got a short clip to show us?
Yeah? Okay.
I have done so many things with my father, which started at that time, sailing. He just goes and takes a nap, and I stand up by the wheel all by myself. And the fact that he would actually give me opportunities like that to develop my own independence, for me it was huge.
It's an enthusiastic pitch, and the Dragons seem drawn to Richard Williamson's moving video. But he's asking them for a massive investment in return for a small equity stake. Can he convince them to invest on those terms?
You've asked for £250,000, which is a lot of money.
Yep.
You're offering 8% of your company.
Yep.
Can you just explain to me what you're going to do with it?
Okay. The first 190 is for moving from our kind of makeshift office to an office that actually serves the needs of our company now that we're kind of no longer a startup. There's about £50,000 that's going on the IT setup and all that sort of thing. So getting the office fitted out is the first part of the equation.
Why can't you just take additional serviced offices where you are?
God, I wish I could. I mean, do you really want the long answer?
No, the short answer.
They're not appropriate. I really wish I could.
Theopathitis seems unimpressed by Richard's plans for the investment. Now Deborah Meadham wants to know more about the business behind the pitch.
I mean, it's quite impressive. You've turned over £1.3 million, and you've been going 4 years?
Correct.
What can you just tell me the profile of that over the last 4 years? You know, what
Sure.
happened in
First
year
year
one?
about 250, second year 600, third year just shy of 900, and this year 1.3.
Okay, and what's profit done in that period?
First year 18, second year 20, last year 5, this year 11%.
11%?
Sorry, pardon me.
I'm really glad you said that. I thought you were talking about money. I find that really interesting that you work in percentages, not real money.
No worries, I find percentages useful because they show trends more easily than money does. So, I mean, do the maths. So the first year would have been about 40 grand, the second year would have been about 60, the next year would have been about 60, it didn't really, and then this year will be 180.
Right, well, let's do the maths again, because year one, you said you did 250.
Right?
And you did 18%.
Correct. So that would have been 45.
Okay. Second year, you said you did 600,000.
Correct.
And you did 20%.
Correct.
Which is?
60. Wait, 20? So, no, it's not, sorry. That would be 480. No, it wouldn't. Sorry, I get my numbers all confused. 20% of 600 is...
600,000. What's 10% of 600,000?
60, so 120,000.
Well done.
Thank
okay.
you.
In the heat of the den, Richard's mathematical skills have deserted him, and that's usually guaranteed to alienate the quick-witted investors. Peter Jones has other concerns.
Richard?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Peter.
Hi.
If I said to you that the way technology is at the moment and the where it's going, what you do, everybody will be able to do. How would you react to that?
I would say that it's already there. I would say that you can go to PC World today and go get a computer with an edit suite bunged into it, and that you can produce something yourself. What we provide isn't a product, it's a service.
Well, let's get to the point. What is your differentiation?
Our unique selling point is, I guess, the caliber, the quality of the work that we produce. We employ 25 people. Our team is full of ex-BBC, ex-ITV, London School of Art, really talented, creative team.
That's not good enough for me. I don't accept that.
Well, what you see is nothing. I guess I see as something.
Richard, I'm going to tell you where I am.
Please.
The issue that I have about the business is the fact that I just feel that it's easily replicated, and the barrier to entry is the quality of your service as an individual and you as a salesperson and what you represent. And I can't quite feel or find anything of real substance that I could hang my hat on and say that is worth putting £250,000 of my money into for a very tiny share percentage in a company. I think you've done very, very well, but because it's easily replicated in the market, I'm not going to invest today, so I'm out.
Richard's unique selling point has driven Peter Jones away from any further negotiations. Will Theopathitis see more potential in the company?
You run a great company by the sound of things. You're a salesman. The whole basis of which your company's led is a sales-led, not quality-led, it's sales-led.
Okay.
And that's where you should have started from, as far as this is concerned. That's your USP, nothing else. You lose that, you lose the business. I don't think it's something for me. I congratulate you for what you've done, but I'm going to rule myself out.
Richard's pitch is in trouble. Theopaphitus admires his progress, but not enough to back him. Only 3 dragons remain. Will any of them save Richard from a speedy ejection from the den?
Richard, this is a service business. I mean, if you've got a hairdresser, that's a service business.
Sure.
What you're relying on is rather than people cutting their hair at home and doing a lousy job, they're going to go and pay a hairdresser to do it better.
Sure.
I disagree with that, Richard, because people don't cut their own hair, but people do make their own home videos.
Your answer to that, Richard, is you've got 1.3 million of turnover, so obviously there are enough people not cutting their own hair to make a business. I think what you've got here, Richard, is you've got first mover advantage.
Indeed.
You've got some time, you've learnt from some mistakes, you've got a lead over the rest of the market. Trying to figure out what that's worth is really difficult. So given that, if I was to say offer you half the money, £125,000 for 12.5%.
I guess I'd need to understand...
It's only academic at the moment because it's only half the money, so for even to be worthwhile you considering, you'd have to get a similar offer from another dragon.
In a sudden twist, Richard Farley has offered half of the investment, but he wants 12.5% of the company for his share of the money, much more than the total 8% originally on offer. Will Deborah Meaden or Duncan Bannatyne make up the rest?
I'll tell you what I am. You know, Richard has just made you a great offer. I think you should consider it very seriously before you turn it down. I'm not going to make an investment in you, so I'm out.
Richard, just so I can help you here.
Sure.
It's interesting. That's exactly the valuation I'd put on the business, and I would be prepared to put the other half up. So the question is now, back to you.
It's a remarkable turnaround, and it's decision time for Richard. He can secure his £250,000 investment, but only by sacrificing 25% of his company. Will he compromise on the equity?
I can't. I mean, it's worth half. That's half of my absolute lowest. So, and I doubt you're going to double your offer.
No, I think I've given a fair valuation at £1 million, and that's going to be the limit.
Okay. And are you willing to double your offer?
I think I made my position clear. In fact, I think it's a very good offer. So, you know, you've got to make your mind up now, really.
Richard's trying to negotiate the dragons down to a combined stake of 12.5%, half of what they're asking for, but they aren't budging. It's Richard's last chance.
But I really appreciate your offer, but it's not one that I can accept. So you guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Unwilling to give away such a large chunk of his company, Richard is leaving the den empty-handed.
Didn't want no money, Deborah.
Good offer.
£250,000.
A fantastic offer.
We shouldn't have offered him cash, we should have offered him a percentage.
A percentage. That's what we should have done.
The dragons never know who's going to appear in front of them next in the den, or what they'll be asked to invest in. Yorkshireman John Binks surprised the dragons with one of their favourite songs. All to persuade them to back his innovative finger placement guides for learner violinists to the tune of £50,000.
Put the finger placement on your violin. You can know where to put your fingers, and it's all rounded up into a proper learned book and DVD and finger placements.
Violin virgin Theopaphitus decided to test out the guides.
Is that the first time you picked a violin up?
Yes.
You've done very well.
But the opportunity didn't strike a chord with Deborah Meaden.
When I picked it up, I looked at it, and I thought, you know, this is a really clumsy way of learning. And I think what you're selling as a unique selling point is just, to be honest, pointless.
And the other dragons agreed that John's business simply lacked scale.
I think it is a neat idea. It's not going to make any money.
I think it's neat. There's no question it's neat and it's new. Is it investable for me? No.
Only around 1 in 10 start-up businesses survives more than a year, which is why the dragons are often looking to offset their risk with a large chunk of equity. Chris Haynes, who's based in Hampshire, thinks he has the next big thing. He's now looking for £95,000 in return for a 10% stake in his company.
Hello Dragons, my name is Chris Haynes and I'm here looking for an investment of $95,000 for 10% of the equity of my company, Safety First, a company incorporated to market one of my inventions, Safety Light. Safety Light is a new concept in emergency lighting that fills what I call is the double standard, and that is that if you are in a public place, emergency lighting is a provision of law. Yet if you're at home, it's suggested you have a torch. This is flawed advice. A few years ago, my mother had a power failure. She had a torch, which is the reason she nearly fell down the stairs, trying to get to it. You need light to find a torch, not dark. Safety Light is the solution. It's a plug-in device. It goes into any 13-amp power point, leaves the power point free to be used as before, but now, in the event of a power cut, there is always light in the dark. And because the light in the dark is the safety light, you know where your torch is, and the torch just lifts off. Safety Light is in fact correcting the design faults of two existing products, namely night lights and torches, to produce a night light that never fails and a torch that's always 100% fully charged. It appeals to elder people, to disabled, for the knowledge they know they will never be left in the dark. I'm just about to launch into Europe, which is the reason I'm here. Thank you for listening. I'll now take your questions.
Inspired by his mother to develop his safety light, inventor Chris Haynes now has ambitious plans to create an entire product range and to expand into Europe. But can he convince the Dragons to join his business?
You say you need £95,000
Yes.
to go into Europe.
Yes.
That makes the statement that you're actually already in the UK and you're selling.
Correct.
Talk to me about those numbers.
Okay, right. Since August, we've actually had it in, firstly, the Lakeland catalogue, an expert verdict. Within 2 weeks of it going in their catalogue, they trebled their forecast orders. They've now put it into the spring catalogue, and we've got a forward commitment for another 3,000.
And how much do they sell for?
The RRP is £24.95.
All right.
Our wholesale price is £10.
£10?
Yeah.
And how many other stores have you managed to get this product into?
I have not got it into any of the retailers except for independent hardware, electrical and mobility shops.
Why?
They won't see one product companies. I have actually got someone working on it.
Well,
at the
why
moment.
haven't you gone through a distributor?
We have. I've just organised that now. A company called Get is actually our wholesaler for the big retailers. They are actually working on B&Q, Argos, Homebase and Focus at the moment.
Chris has stood up well to this grilling by Theo Paphitis. But Peter Jones has some pressing questions of his own.
Chris?
Yeah.
I'm Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Is that battery operated, that unit?
Yes, it is. It will actually last between 2 to 3 nights without power.
But isn't it then better to have, which you can go and buy for a lot less money than £24.99, a normal night light that you use for children, just battery operated? They just sit in the room, they're absolutely perfect.
Yes.
And they're operated where you can actually touch the top, the light comes on, they can walk around exactly like you've got.
Yes. But that's a touch light.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the ones you mean.
You've got nothing unique here. These things already exist. I've got them in my home. The only thing I can see in your product that I haven't seen with another product is the ability to be able to plug a plug into it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you've got that's unique, unless I'm missing something.
Yes, you are.
What am I missing?
Is that the product you're talking about has batteries. It will let you down. With safety, it must be 100% safety. That's what this is about. It will never let you down. The one you've got
I disagree with you. I'm seeing it as more inconvenient to be able to have to plug that into a socket when I've got a walkabout remote one that I can put anywhere as a floor light, anywhere in my house, next to my bed, within a foot. For me, I'm not actually bought into the product. I don't think the product is good enough to sell in a mass market. I think it's a very, very tiny, small sale. So I'm out.
It's a devastating blow to lose a dragon this early on. Now Duncan Bannatyne is ready to have his say.
Chris, I'm just looking at the product and thinking, really, to put it in the house, I think it's pretty ugly. It's bulky. It takes a lot of space in the corridor, and you know, people would just see it and think, you know, what's that? And why is it there?
It's happening the other way round, that people actually, when they see it, and people who've bought them, tell people what it is, and they actually buy them.
Well, that means that the sales should be expanding and...
Which they are.
Snowballing and tens of thousands of sales and have £95,000 profit in no time.
Yeah.
So you can fund your own trip to Europe. Can you?
Yeah.
I think it's an okay product, and I wish you the best of luck with it, but I'm not going to invest, so I'm out.
Okay. Well, thank you.
With 2 dragons out in as many minutes, Chris's bid for a £95,000 investment for a 10% stake in his company is in real trouble. Will any of the 3 remaining dragons see enough potential in his business to back him?
Chris, I've been wavering. I don't think this is a radical product. I think there's too many other solutions to this particular issue. However, it's a nifty product. So the next question is, what else have you got?
Safety First, the company I'm talking about, one of the products is Safety Light. There are 2 other products to come out yet, which I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you the 2 areas they're in. One is in lighting, and it's to prevent falls of elderly people, more so than Safety Light. And the other area is in refuelling of vehicles.
And are they health and safety type products?
Exactly.
They're all safe products?
Yes, everything will have a direction on safety.
So the next question is, then, would I invest in you as an inventor? And I actually quite like the idea of investing in somebody who's obviously got the skills not just to invent something, but you're selling them. That's great. So I'm actually going to make you an offer. But it's nowhere near at the level that you're looking for.
Okay.
So I'm going to offer you half of the money, for which I want 15% of the business.
To the surprise of her rival dragons, Deborah Meaden has offered Chris half the money. But for that she's demanding a 15% share of Safety Light and all his other inventions. And Chris still needs either Theo Paphitis or Richard Farley to offer the remainder, or he'll leave the den with nothing.
I really don't understand why you're going overseas. You've sold a handful here, really.
Yep.
And your sales, monthly sales at the moment, are sort of in the hundreds.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like, to me, as a business which should be going international. And you said yourself you've had trouble getting into stores here.
I will get through that. I mean, we did recently do a quotation to B&Q for 20,000.
Yeah, but you haven't done it yet, and it's going to be a lot harder going into a Spanish store and trying to speak Spanish or something and convincing them. And as an investor, I'm not going to put money in for you to go off somewhere else and give it a second try, because this is your best market. This is your home market. You speak the language, you know the culture, you have contacts. Presumably you don't have those same strengths overseas. So I think it's a very flawed business model. So I think for that reason, I'm going to step out.
Chris's chance of securing an investment is now hanging by a thread. Theo Paphitis is his last hope.
I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but I don't really have that much problem in the UK with power cuts or trips. On the continent, on the other hand, I have a home in Spain, the lights are always going out. I've stayed in hotels where the lights are always going out. So I would have thought over there, there's probably more demand.
I quite agree with you. Theo, I think, in fact, the European version has a greater demand. I've actually got a lot of people in the UK who've actually ordered this because they have houses in Spain and France. It's been on test in Ireland. I'm in talks at the moment with a distributor over there who's trying to get it into the retail shops.
I'm going to match Deborah's offer. but actually you've not given away 10%. You'll be giving back for the money 30%.
Rejecting the concerns of his rival dragons, Theo Paphitis has come to Chris's rescue. But Chris was originally offering just 10% of his business. The dragons are demanding 3 times that. Will he make the necessary sacrifice to gain their cash and expertise?
I think I would accept the deal. Yeah.
Well done.
Excellent. Well
Yeah.
done.
Excellent.
Good decision. Well done.
Thank you.
After a rocky start, Chris has done it, and he leaves the den minus 30% of his company, but up 2 invaluable new business partners and the money for his European expansion.
Take care.
So when are you going off to Spain to try to sell us?
You've got that so wrong.
What if-
He's done brilliantly.
I tell you what, with that business, you're going to need a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
So, Chris, halfway through that, did you think you were going to walk out with an investment?
No.
I was
one
pretty
answer.
surprised too.
I think it's a very flawed business model.
I think it's pretty ugly.
These things already exist. I've got them in my home.
What do you think you did that allowed you to pull it off?
I think it's that Deborah appreciated safety.
And once she had gone for it, Theo was warming to it.
The interesting point he made is he had a house in Spain. He's had the problem.
On the continent, the light's always going out.
Safety Light is going to succeed. It's beginning now. So with Deborah and Theo, then I'll just get there faster.
Such confidence. Well done.
Thank you.
All the entrepreneurs who enter the den think their ideas could make them millions. Very few convince the dragons that's the case. Londoner Alison Davis needed £100,000 to develop her DocuLock security system, designed to prevent the unauthorised removal of paperwork from lever arch files.
As soon as you receive that document, it becomes secure. But if you want to take it out to photocopy it, you have to go and ask the key holder.
Alison's idea failed to click with the dragons from the outset.
I mean, I guess if there was a big need for this, the people who manufactured these in the first place would have come up with it, and they haven't.
I think you're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Peter Jones thought her business concept was far from secure.
Alison, sorry, I've got to cut you short here. You're wasting my time. I mean, look,
Because
I
no-
could bend it and take every paper up and put it back. You wouldn't even know.
And that's where we came out with this one.
So it's not this you're
Well-
trying to get an investment in, because if it is, it
Well, it's
may as well
part
go in
and
the bin.
parcel. It's part and parcel.
And the dragons soon filed the idea under uninvestable.
You've bought a product in here that you claim solves a problem that we're not convinced exists, and then Peter clearly demonstrates that it doesn't even solve the problem that we don't think exists.
I'm trying to think of a reason to stay in, but I can't disagree. There's nothing else to add.
No.
I'm right out now. I'm out. I'm out. Let's have a look.
Richard, counsel from Somerset, wanted £150,000 for his eye-catching verbals, novelty phones to make phone calls over the internet more entertaining. The concept failed to gel with Richard Farley.
Is it something that could be immediately copied tomorrow?
Yes, it could be, in some respects.
So could be something that, you know, in a year's time there's lots of imitators and you're crowded out.
Yeah.
And in the end, the dragons just didn't engage with the idea.
The valuation is so crazy. You know, I think you'd have to end up with no shares to make it viable.
I don't want to put your product down,
Yeah.
but it's not investable, so that's why I'm out.
So far today, only one entrepreneur has walked away with an investment. Will the dragons be prepared to back any of these businesses with their own money?
It is a harebrained scheme.
I think that's revolting.
I am going to offer you half the money.
Paige Allen from Surrey came up with her idea after putting tea towels in Tupperware boxes each morning to protect her children's fruit. She's put £50,000 of her own money into the project, but now needs further investment of £125,000. Will the Dragons be willing to stump up the cash? Remember, it's their own money they're investing.
Hello, I'm Paige Allen, and I'm seeking an investment today of £125,000 for 5% of Fruity Faces Limited in order to harness the global potential for our product. So what is a Fruity Face? Well, a Fruity Face is a fun, inflatable fruit case. The idea is you put your fruit inside, close it up, you blow it up, and as you can see, the air moulds around and protects the fruit. This means children are able to carry fruit to school, protecting their fruit instead of having bashed fruit in the bottom of their bag at the end of the day. The timing of this product is absolutely perfect. With the government initiatives, children are supposed to be eating 5 pieces of fruit and veg per day. We have been awarded the Department of Health 5-a-day logo to use on the product packaging. We believe this is a good investment because you are investing in an already established company. We have sold 45,000 units in the last 6 months. You are also investing in a social enterprise business. The profits we make are donated to children's charities. Now, you're possibly thinking, so why are you standing here today asking for investment? Well, we see that by having Dragons on board in our company, we can increase the profit potential of this product. Therefore, our charities will benefit, and so will you as investors. So we see it as a win-win situation.
It's an unusual proposition for the Dragons. Paige Allen wants them to invest £125,000 in her social enterprise, selling inflatable fruit cases for children. So unusual that Deborah Meaden needs some immediate clarification.
One thing I need to get clear from the start, is this a charitable product? Does this make profit at all?
It makes profit. We run it as a commercial business. We make profit. We, so far, have a turnover of 90,000 and we've made a profit of 23,000. The profits that we make, that we then donate to charity.
Is there a business opportunity? Is there an opportunity for anybody to make money from this product?
Absolutely, yes. As I explained, it's a win-win situation.
You didn't explain, because I'm sitting here thinking you're giving away all of your profits to charity. So do you want to say how we make money?
Yes, as an investor in it, if you have 5%, which is our proposal today, you will get 5% return of the profits of the business. The other 95% Fruity Faces have, we will donate that to charity.
The Dragons seem perturbed by Paige's business model. Peter Jones also has concerns about Paige offering just 5% equity in Fruity Faces for £125,000, a position that values her young business at £2.5 million.
What I actually don't get at the moment is how you can still value the business at £2.5 million with me putting £125,000 if I'm never going to see the value of that.
Well, you will see the value of that because if you have your equity at 5%, you get 5% of profit. The fact that we give our profit away to charity is...
Yeah, but to get my money back, you're going to have to make hundreds of thousands of pounds every year for a little while before...
This is Rob, my FD. Duncan.
Hi, Rob.
Nice to meet you.
Rob, Paige has told us that she's looking for £125,000 for 5% of this company.
Yes.
Do you know what that values the company at?
Yes, 2.5 million.
Now, can you explain why?
I can, because the sales to date are totally down to this lady. With no marketing, she's gone out, she's sold 50,000 without any help, apart from part-time help. I mean, this product would appeal to the world, children, and it's got enormous potential.
I don't have a dispute with the product, I have a dispute with your valuation of the company. But the other thing is, investing in this way, if I just give my money to charity, which I often do, I get 40% tax relief, or the charity gets 40% tax relief. So I can give £60 to charity and it benefits to £100.
Yeah, sure.
And you can't do that with this. If I just gave you £125,000 for 5%, the charity went with a lot less money than if I just gave the £125,000 to charity and got tax relief added on.
Yes, and we possibly need to look at the status of our company and how it's set up.
Absolutely, and if it's a charity, then you need to be going somewhere else to raise money for that charity. So, you know, because the figures don't add up, I think it's fantastic what you're doing. I wish you the best of luck, but it's not an investment, so I'm not going to invest. I just want you to know I'm out.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time. Thank you for the advice. That's great.
The Dragons are losing confidence in Paige's business skills. And Theo Paphitis has a deeper dilemma about the social enterprise model she's proposing.
Personally, I don't think I could sit on your board and allow 95% of the profits to go to worthwhile charities and then take my 5% and put it in my back pocket. I don't think I could sit in front of you and look at you in the eye and look at you in the eye and do that.
Yes.
It wouldn't be morally correct or ethical.
Well, I think it would be, because you're obviously, you know, you'd be bringing something to business, you'd be able to increase profits for charity, so you have done your good work, but you also get a return on your investment as well, which is what you're looking for.
You're in the wrong place with a mixed up bag that needs somehow to be ironed out by reorganising what you've got at the moment. It's not an investment for me. It doesn't stack up on that basis. So I too now am out.
Yeah, thank you for considering it. Yeah.
Paige, and Rob, I'm Richard. Yeah, it is very tricky to combine business with charity, unfortunately, because of tax issues and also motivation issues. I mean, you've got a lot of...
Presented me with a cause, not a business. You are asking for a charitable donation and the support of an entrepreneur behind you to push so you can give more to kids.
It is different for you. That's what I said. It's a unique proposition to you. Most people that come to you are about making money for themselves. No. Does that make any difference to you?
No, I'm involved.
Whether the money I give goes to charity?
Paige, I'm involved in very similar types of businesses where I give donations through charity-run foundations. I'm with you 100% on this. But what I'm saying is, you're in the wrong place.
Right.
You've walked down the wrong street, as far as I'm concerned. I won't be investing, and I'm out.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, Paige,
that leaves you, Deborah.
If this was a pure commercial proposition, then I would be saying to you, this is a crazy valuation. I could well be interested, because clearly you're selling the product, but I want to negotiate on price.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. And the reason I don't want to do that is because it's a charity. So that's how I feel, because of those feelings that I'm having, because of the conflicts I'm already having. There is no way I'm going to feel comfortable investing. So, I'm out.
Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers. Bye.
It's all over for Paige. In the end, the Dragons just couldn't buy into her unusual mix of business and charity.
Very confused.
Dangerous mix.
Oh, very, very,
Very dangerous mix.
Over the course of a long day in the den, dozens of cash-hungry entrepreneurs come and dozens of cash-hungry entrepreneurs go. Beauty trainer Karen Johnston wanted
£100,000 to expand her portable, permanent hair removal business.
Because the
machine is very portable. I recognise an opportunity in the marketplace that I believe nobody is exploiting at the moment. That is a visiting therapy service to beauty salons.
Peter Jones was taken aback by the size of the depilation units.
First thing that hit me was when you said it's portable, because it kind of looks like a 1980s fax machine. Is that the smallest version it comes in?
Yes.
And how much does that cost?
£11,000.
Theo Paphitis was more worried about the size of the price tag.
You're aware that they're actually talking about home devices at the moment?
Yes, I am.
And how much will they cost?
I've seen one advertised in one of the Sunday
Papers, yeah.
for, was it £99, I believe?
Correct, that's the one I'm talking about.
OK.
That swiftly removed any chance of investment for Karen.
Whatever you do, don't go and buy another 3 or 4 of these things, because you'll have these gathering dust in a few months' time.
It is a harebrained scheme. For that reason, I'm going to count myself out.
Will Callahan had a man-sized business for the Dragons to inspect, a web-based men's health magazine with impressive-sounding figures and forecasts.
97% of search traffic is around particular keywords, and we know what those keywords are.
Are people searching for different things and ending up on your site by accident?
Will hoped his sales charts would convince the Dragons the business was in good shape.
The second graph shows our growth since launch, so March 06 to December 06.
But Richard Farley quickly spotted a flaw.
Just looking at that graph, your graph is actually pretty flat, isn't it?
There's not a lot of money in the publishing industry.
All right. There's not a lot of money in the publishing industry.
And with that, Will sealed his fate in the den. David Pybus is a perfume historian from Kent. He has a new range of products that he thinks will get the Dragon's senses going, but he needs £80,000 to move forwards. Can he convince the Dragons to part with their cash?
Well, good afternoon. My name's David Pybus. I'm looking for £80,000 for a 20% share in my company. I'm a qualified chemist and marketeer. I'm an author of best-selling books of their genre, which is perfumery. And I'm an aromancer, a dealer in aromas. I'm also known by the media as the Indiana Jones of the business, because what I do is look for perfumes lost in time, find them, rediscover them, recreate them, and get them ready for the market. I have a range of 15 perfumes. They are created by $1 billion perfume company that I work for as a consultant. So they are top-notch fragrances, and we're talking A-list celebrities here. We're talking fragrance from the debris field of Titanic, the fragrance of Blue Lotus, which is the perfume of Cleopatra, which has a hallucinogen in it. You can't get it from smelling it, but I reckon that's what she used on Mark Antony and Caesar. I'm looking conservatively for less than 0.1% of the global market, which is £15 billion. I've got around 6 routes to market, 2 major retail routes, another which is more prestige fragrance that I'm developing, home selling in America, where I have contacts, and internet is a consideration, and finally I have a national newspaper, non-tabloid, that is interested in a readership offer based on the sense of time, perfumes lost in time. All I can say, Dragons, is if you work with me, you really will come up smelling of roses. Thank you.
It's rare for perfumes to appear in the den.
Empty room, filled it up, talk is cheap, listen up, I don't know where we went wrong, but I feel I'm shaking these walls, yeah, nothing safe, gotta take cover, still of love, we just make glitter, running and running, yeah, we got off track, now we under attack.
companies. The last one is a $1 billion fragrance company.
How long were you there for?
20 years.
Right, and you left?
As part of that, when I read in the year 2001 that they'd found a bag of perfumes on board Titanic, my heart went like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and I realised if I came back from America with this, we could recreate it. While we were looking at that, I read that they'd found a complete perfumer's house buried in Pompeii, and I went out to Pompeii. I worked with botanists and archaeologists there to see what he was growing in.
While you were working for this company?
Yes.
David might have successfully resurrected scents from the past, but marketing expert Deborah Meaden is more interested in the potential profits for any investor.
You talked about routes to market, and you've got two major retailers on board.
I'm in debate with World Duty Free, which has 23% of all perfume sales in the United Kingdom, and who I teach creative perfumery to, so I have an established relationship. And I'm in negotiation with Boots.
Boots, major retailer. Where are you with them?
Just really exchange of communications with them.
What does that mean? Telephone calls, you've got a letter from them? So
telephones and emails where they're considering it.
Well, hold on, have you had a meeting with them?
I'm sorry?
Have you had a meeting with Boots?
No, I have to say my weakness on this is I do not have an established route to market yet. I have a great product.
That's a pretty big weakness, David.
Particularly for somebody who started off saying I'm a perfumery and a marketeer.
David's unwittingly exposed his business naivety, and the dragons are immediately suspicious. Can he rescue his pitch by winning the dragons over with the perfumes themselves?
I think that's revolting.
Do you?
I'm sorry, but I do.
The thing is, Duncan, with perfume as well, you need to let it develop. It's a bit like a Beethoven's Fifth, where you hear da-da-da-da, and you haven't got the rest of the symphony.
Yeah, I think
it needs a dry down. If you give that, and we can't give it, but if you give that 10 minutes, smell it later, it develops into a nice fragrance.
Okay. When I buy perfume for my lady, I go into the chemist's and I choose one that I like. Now, I don't really care how old it was, whether it was reinvented, or whether it went down with Titanic.
People have a desire to learn more about.
I would think the people who want to learn more are a very, very small percentage of the market. Wouldn't you say so?
A small percentage of the market is what I'm looking for. 0.1% of the market.
David's enthusiasm for his perfumes might be charming the dragons, but can he persuade them to invest £80,000? Peter Jones has concerns around who actually owns the scents.
Do you and the company that you're looking for investment for own the intellectual property rights of this perfume?
Yes. Can I expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. Is that a yes then, and you'll expand on it?
It is a yes. Yeah. And in the nature of our business is the following: you develop a fragrance, co-invent through a brief, and the business is done. If the fragrance company decides it didn't want to do it anymore, you get the formula.
So is this a contractual arrangement or a gentleman's agreement you have?
Well, we're looking, now that I'm actually coming out of the consultancy by the end of March, we're looking at putting a contract together. By the end of March, I might have to look at renegotiating that position.
Do you know, David, everybody else might have got it, but I have not got this.
I'm sorry,
I still
Deborah,
do
I'm
not
being
understand
clear.
your relationship.
I haven't got it.
Because it sounds to me like you're standing in front of us trying to get us to invest into a business that doesn't actually have any kind of arrangement with somebody who were part of developing the product.
Well, that contract's being done now. You know, we're putting it together. We've been working 3 years.
Well, David, can you stop being so obtuse? I mean, can you just tell me the terms of the contract?
I don't have a written hard contract.
David's been blasted by an infuriated Deborah Meaden. Is this eccentric entrepreneur's charming but informal approach to business about to prove his undoing in the den?
David, I need to tell you where I am. I mean, forgive my frustration, because I think you're actually a very nice guy and you clearly know your stuff. But I can't invest in something that is a wing and a prayer, that is actually not... It's nothing. There is no legal standing, no contract.
Well, there will be,
well, there will be. There isn't. I don't know and I don't know what those terms will be, and neither do you, David, and you can't stand here and say you do, because you don't know what those terms will be. So I'm afraid it just doesn't give me anything. So for that reason, I'm out.
Okay, thank you.
This is a blow for David. He has bewildered the dragons over who owns the rights to the scents, him or the manufacturers. But now Theopophetis steps in to try and help clear up the confusion.
I go to them, I give them a brief. I want a perfume to smell just like my old socks.
Right.
So I give them one of my old socks, they create it.
Yes.
Right, now, I now want to make it into perfume, because I think everyone's going to love it. Who then owns the intellectual rights to that smell?
You do.
I do.
They would not sell that to another company.
Right.
That's your smell.
I do.
Like.
How do they get remunerated?
By selling to you.
In volume?
Yes.
The dragons have finally been convinced that David will have potentially lucrative rights within his business, as well as interest from the UK's biggest perfume retailer. Peter Jones is quick to seize the initiative.
I think if I was to invest in your business, I could tell you that I'd make sure that you would be locked in the lab. I wouldn't let you out.
Why is that?
Because I think what would happen is, from a marketing perspective, you would make things a lot more complicated than they actually are. That being said, I think what you've got is potentially, could be, if it's positioned correctly, very, very, very successful. Because I do think people are looking for this little piece of time out of the novelty factor. So to that extent, I am going to offer you half the money. But I'm going to offer you half the money for 20% of your business, because I think you're going to need a little support in the commercial arena trying to negotiate these types of contracts.
Thank you for the offer. May I consider that? The concern I have about that is at that rate, I could lose 40% of my business if one of the other dragons offers the same. And knowing you guys, you always try and beat the other, so it is a concern to me, those figures.
In an unexpected twist, Peter Jones has offered David half the £80,000 investment, but for double the equity originally on offer. And under the rules of the den, David must now persuade one of the 3 remaining dragons to invest, or he'll still leave with nothing.
My original thought was that this could actually be quite valuable, because if there are so many perfumes out there, product differentiation becomes really important. And if you can say, well, Cleopatra used to wear this perfume, and you get a celebrity behind it, and you do it the right way, then that might be enough to push your perfume up against the thousands and thousands of others. So it could be very valuable. Let's say we took Cleopatra and we took it off to Yves Saint Laurent, and we said, here's Cleopatra was wearing this, why don't you get behind it, get some beautiful actress to endorse it, we'll charge you a penny a bottle, or, I mean...
Well, they could, but it doesn't... Yves Saint Laurent, as I say, they've got a stable, they've got a character, they've got a... It just doesn't gel with companies like this.
So you think with £80,000 we're going to take on Yves Saint Laurent?
Well, and everybody else.
I don't believe you'll get to market for £80,000, so for that reason, I'm going to declare myself out. Okay?
Yeah, £80,000 to launch a range of perfume is not enough, so I wish you luck, but I'm out as well.
Really?
David is on the brink of disaster. His only chance of salvaging an investment now rests with retail magnate Theopophetis.
I'm going to ask you to just spend 30 seconds, no longer, right, without talking. Right, in a minute, when I say start, I do...
Okay, in the retailers that I'm talking to, I think I can develop both of those retail situations. I just believe that from the nature of the business and from the relationship I have at least with one of them. I would have to put more money into point of sale, because that's, you know, there's 30 million people going through Heathrow. You've got to attract their eyes with some sort of display. So I think that would be the nature of the promotion.
Right.
Have I not answered that well, Theo? I'm sorry.
I think that's the best answer you've given all bloody day.
It's very good.
Oh, thank you.
And on that basis, I'm going to give you the other £40,000 for 20%. So you now have an offer.
Are you accepting our offer, David?
I think it'll be good working with you guys. Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes, it's a yes.
You got a deal.
Thank you very much.
An unpredictable investment, but also a popular one, as the Aramancer who bemused the dragons walks away with an £80,000 investment.
Mind the step.
Well done, Theo.
Well done, Theo and Peter. Goodness gracious me.
There was something in that perfume, Theo.
Yes, absolutely. Feel it.
Indiana Jones. We're going to go on some journeys with him.
Yeah.
It was,
I hope it isn't the Temple of Doom.
I am flabbergasted, David. I didn't think you had a chance halfway through that. They were tearing their hair out.
Can you just tell me the terms of the contract?
Are you pleased with the offer? You've given away a big chunk for £80,000.
I think I've part sold my soul, but this might have been, as was said, the last chance saloon. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen with dragons, and I've got two great people to work with.
Are you accepting our offer, David?
You think you'll get on with these guys? You're going to be able to work with them?
And my promise is there. I am confident I can have a deal that will make them comfortable about this whole thing of I own it, the company support it. If they're not interested, I get the formulae.
Going to be a fascinating one to watch.
Okay,
Well
thank you
done.
very much. Cheers.
Next time on Dragon's Den.
You've made yourself uninvestable the minute you started.
If you could get something wrong, you've done it.
I really do not like this. It absolves people of responsibility.
If you have a business idea or invention you'd like to pitch to the dragons, then visit our website, where you'll also be able to relive the highlights from tonight's episode. That's bbc.co.uk/Dragons Den.
The Dragons are back in 2 weeks' time. Coming next, Party Animals.